But be careful of men that see with a compromised relationship. Because vanogona kunge vakunofa ende vanoenda newe kurufu rwako nokuti vanoona. Be careful. They had open eyes, and all of a sudden they started to look for clothing. Handisi kuti hembe dzakaipa, but ndiri kuti chatsvagisa hembe ndochinoda kungwarira. I'm not saying clothes are bad. Clothing is bad. But that which has inspired you to look for clothing and now realize your deficiency so much. Be careful. Pastor, what are you saying? Men of God, what are you saying? Have you ever been to environments that God is said to be present, and all of a sudden you don't feel like going to church when you don't have a new dress? When you don't have new clothing, when you don't have a nice suit, you feel like not going to church anymore. The day that you lose your car, you feel like not going to church. The day that you feel like you don't have an offering, you feel like not going to church. There are environments that magnify what you don't have. And your eyes will be so focused on what you don't have rather than what is being given. Attend church in the UK. Attend church in the United States of America. Observe the dressing and observe the dressing in Africa. I'm not saying you shouldn't come to the house of God presentable. I believe in presentation. But be careful, because every word that you utter as a minister of the gospel has a ripple effect. There are people that are listening and are learning from you. And once they use your teaching and it is kind of skewed and it becomes their foundation, be careful that they may construct houses that are not strong, faith that is not strong, because the foundation was skewed. The foundation had an error. So it is always important, even as a minister of the word of God, to consider your audience. Two things. Before you give out a revelation, understand unto whom you are giving it to, lest they may not be qualified to understand the revelation. Number one. Or number two, they may be overwhelmed by the revelation and they become burdened instead of delivered or transformed. From then on, death has already, or is beginning, or has already taken place. But what is now happening is the manifestation of death and the process of death. Now, isn't it amazing that God, who usually comes into the garden that he made, with the trees that he made, with the fruits that he made, with everything contained in the garden, the Lord is coming and he wants to dine with his man. And the man is physically present in the garden and yet spiritually absent. On the radar of God, you are absent and yet you are physically present. Bengorimum garden, but usimo kuna baba. You'll be there in the garden and then absent according to the Father. I have seen men who are present physically but absent according to God. So it's very important to know the mind of God about you every single day. You wake up in the morning, understand the mind of God. In the evening, understand the mind of God. Because you may please people and they can clap for you. And yet what you are doing or who you are today, you are absent on his radar. Imagine an omnipresent God, an all-seeing God, the God that knows even the number of hairs on your head, is coming into his God where he placed you and is not finding you there. And yet you are physically present. Isn't it amazing that the first thing that they look for? Clothing. If you look at it carefully, you will realize that that which they were supposed to look after started to look after them. Fig leaves. That which they were supposed to dress was now dressing them. You didn't hear me, I know. When the focus is now being dressed by them that you were supposed to dress, we have a problem. We have a problem. They started to sew leaves together so that they could clothe themselves, so that they could remove the shame. Notice the focus. It's very minute. Hazvinyanye kuoneka. Hazvinyanye kuoneka, but zvinooneka. Kufunga kwenyu vakanotsvaga mashizha madiki. Vakanotsvaga akaita sei? Maombe. Kufunga kwenyu pavaitsvaga mashizha, vaifunga here kuti muti uyu uchakura sei? Kana kuti they were focused on their shame more than the health of that which they were sent to dress. Are we together? These are the actions of a dying man, a cursed man. The consequence of eating from the wrong tree, the tree that they were commanded not to eat